Hey everyone, welcome to the ATYL live stream on a Wednesday night. Good to see you all as you roll in. My name is Taylor Kitchen. You all know me though, and you also know Adam Lucas, co-host for this evening. Adam, dig the hat, both on our hat games tonight.
Tonight is a 100% A plus drip for our headgear.
100%. And like we went to Racing Warehouse, and that's where Adam found that hat. It looks so
I,
good.
I I saw it on the wall when we first walked in, and I went, hmm. Let
Yeah,
me peruse the store first. Let's go see if there's any sheet metal that speaks out to me. And there wasn't for that day.
for that
So I
day.
came back in the shop and was like, I got to get that at. I don't care how much it is. I just take my card. I want it. I need it.
That was my experience, was just take my card and I will buy what I see. Now, I did have bigger pieces of sheet metal in hand before I decided not to go that route and I went a different route, but I'm going to do a whole like collection video, a new episode of Collector's Corner, hopefully in the next like week or so with all the stuff I've acquired, but also appreciate Sway for these cool ATYL Media hats. The whole team is getting fitted with ATYL Media gear finally. So I'm very excited about that. But my goodness, big weekend of racing across the board for NASCAR's top three national series, Truck Xfinity Cup. Real quickly, I mean, talk about the Truck Series. Roger Carruth holding off Corey Heim and Lane Riggs. A fierce battle behind him, but was able to get to victory lane. Huge deal for Roger, right?
Huge deal. I really feel like this win was a boost of confidence for
Mhm.
him and the team. It shows that they belong in a top tier truck, top tier series, and they can always get the job done. I never counted them out this year, but at
Mm-mm.
Charlotte, it was starting to hit me like, oh my god, is Raja, is he fading? But then
No.
Nashville proved me
Mhm.
completely wrong. So I was very thrilled to see that he was able to hold off that late race charge by Heim and Riggs. That
Mhm.
was that was a heck of a battle.
When you can say that you were able to win against arguably Corey Heim is the best in the Truck Series, hands down. I mean, he has the most wins by a long shot of the Truck Series field this year. But when you can say you were able to hold off the best driver of the year, I mean, that's something that makes a statement. It's a resume builder. But even too, Raja is constantly building his resume. I think he's really this year putting more moves together and making it stick, which I think as you grow up as a race car driver, as you mature, as you figure things out, like that's what starts to happen. You kind of start to put the momentum into place and it kind of keeps on rolling. And I could say the same thing too about Carson Hocevar. This is a whole other topic we'll get into later. But you see that he's kind of putting the pieces together and he's getting on a roll. But I also know some of the putting the pieces together have spiked some controversy. One of our good buddies, RJ Starksback, had Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on his show at Motor Stardom and got some really good quotes from Ricky. He scheduled it last week, and funny enough, Ricky was the talk of the town from this weekend at Nashville. So, first off, shout out to RJ. Love his content, love what he does. But it's been a busy week, I feel like, news wise. Even if it really hasn't been like anything major headlines wise, there's been like little nuggets here and there about certain things. But even to Xfinity Series, Justin Allgaier getting that win there after leading so much the week prior and then just not being able to close it out. But this week he did it. Did you see I mean, I know it's a normal celebration for him, but came out of the roof and caused quite a stir.
Oh yeah. But the thing is, he's been doing that now for a couple of seasons, jumping out of the roof, and it's kind of like his thing now, which
Yeah.
I find kind of unique. I think back to when they first introduced the roof hatch. It was Michael Waltrip at Talladega. He popped out of the hatch, and it was kind of a big deal too, because a lot of people were thinking, "Huh, why? First
Yeah.
off, why?" But it's a pretty cool celebration.
I like it. I know going forward, I know Justin Allgaier joined Dale Jr. on his show this past week, and Dale made a comment about it literally like the show prior and was like, if you come out of the roof, like you're probably cheating. And so they had a whole conversation about that. So that was pretty funny. But great to see Justin Allgaier in victory lane, kind of redemption for him. And then, of course, for the Cup Series, Ryan Blaney finds victory lane for the first time in 2025. And Dom Joseph, who isn't going to be joining us tonight, unfortunately, but says hello to everybody. He noticed a really interesting trend. If you look back to last year at Nashville, and I mentioned this in Above the Yellow Line, the first win was picked up by Austin Cindric at Team Penske. Then you have the defending champion picking up the win after that. And then Nashville, Joey Logano won, which was the third and final Penske car that needed to win in 2024. What did Joey Logano do in 2024, folks? Won a championship. We saw the same trend basically this year as well. Cindric wins the first race for Penske this year at Talladega. Then you have Joey Logano, the defending champ, winning the next race for Penske. And then, of course, the final car that needed to get it done was that 12. What that says about Ryan Blaney's season at the end of the day, I don't know. If stats want to be our friend, maybe it means Ryan Blaney will be the 2025 champ, but we still have a very long way to go. That said, though, I've rambled quite enough. We do have a very special guest tonight. You guys might remember Keiston was on the show a year or two ago. It's been way too long. But since then, Keiston is now with the number 12 team of Ryan Blaney as a front tire changer. And he got to celebrate in victory lane with Blaney and the whole crew. We wanted to bring him on the show, chat with him, chat about the win, and so much more. So without further ado, let's bring in Keiston France.
Woo-hoo.
Oh, I love that. Got the body armor chill here. Love that.
Okay, awesome. I should have brought. I still have your canteen that you sent to me, and stuff. I still drink out of that. The logo done rubbed off now. I've been using it so much, but way to represent. I had to grab a hat before I was on live because I was like, I cannot allow these guys and gals to daggone outshine me. I do have slightly a hat game thanks to Team Penske. So. Hey, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to join them. I have a small head, so it's like these type of hats really just swallow my head. But I was like, for this purpose and this purpose only, I'll do it. And this is the first time I wore this hat. I was so scared to wear it when I was at the track because I didn't want to mess it up. But here we are. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Of course, no, glad to have you on, and also just respect the hat game. We love wearing hats here. I love that hat. I almost went and bought it, but it's so cool. But Keiston, first off, just talk about the win this weekend. I mean, great execution by the 12 team as a whole, and just victory lane. How cool was that?
I mean, gosh, man, it's a blessing. I was sharing with you guys, before we got on live that. It's a full circle moment for me because I used to work in Cracker Barrel. I worked in Cracker Barrel for 4 years as a cook. So I know what goes into all of that food. So just beware. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love Cracker Barrel. But and then I was a sales associate in Guitar Center, selling Gibson Les Paul guitars and amongst others, Fenders, things of that nature too. So it's a full circle moment for me. It's just a blessing. So I loved it much. I was with Austin when we won in St. Louis last year, and now with Blaney. And it's funny you mentioned about the trend, but it's also that whole ideology that Joey wins the chip in even years, right? So that too. But we'll continue to speak that life, and so appreciate it. But it was such a great moment. It really was.
And I wanted to kind of ask about this too, because I know we had talked about it a little bit, behind the scenes and stuff like that, but you weren't on this 12 car this season until after that week off. So would you be able to kind of talk about that transition and even to just gelling with this 12 crew right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, the beautiful thing about Penske is that we're all one family, one team, one goal. And we make it an importance of getting to know each other, whether you're on the same car or not. Like I said, when I first got to Penske, late 2022, I was on the 21 car. Then I went to the 2 car for the next 2 years. And then I spent some time on the 38 with Zane Smith, another champion, right? And so, but we're all still in the same house. And so we train together, we practice together, laugh together, may not ride in the same van together, but we're all there together, whether you're in the shop or on, in the pit department, we're all there together. And so the transition was not very difficult for me because I had known everyone, right? Some of the guys that work on the 12 on the crew, I knew when I was on the 2 car. Jonathan Hazard, I knew him well. I had worked with him before he became the crew chief on the 12, so we had a relationship there. I mean, we were all it was just like, well, hey, Keiston, welcome to this side. Let's continue to do what we've been doing, right? And so it was a very smooth transition. All of the guys, whether I was on the 2 car or going from 21 to the 2 or from the 2 to the 38, because it's a big sport, a lot of teams, but we are a traveling show. We see each other a lot and we hang out a lot. A lot of us who aren't even on the same team hang out a lot outside of the track. So even going to the 38, which is a front row car, but affiliate of Penske, I had known guys on that car that I worked with when I was pitting for, it's not DGR now, it's Tricon, so I mean, yeah, so it was, having said all of that, the transition was very smooth. It wasn't a lot of, oh, I got to get adjusted, I have to get adjusted. It was really just, let's just get you in here. I mean, the thing with me, I have ran with every group in the building, right? I had a stint with the 22. If you guys remember, one of our guys got injured last year, and it was funny because it was Vegas, and they ended up winning that race, but I'm honorary member of that crew. Obviously the guy who did most of the work, Joe Dilly, he was credited that win, and I told him to go to victory lane and whatever. But I've had the amazing opportunity of running with every crew in the building. So it was just a matter of just rejoining and say, hey guys, let's just keep it rolling, right? I mean, it may have been a couple of things that we had to work out, had to tinker with, but really, in our world, we don't have much time, right, to do a lot of tinkering when moves like this has been, are being made. We just have to learn from each other as quickly as possible and go, grip it and rip it, rip it and rip it, rip it and
Something like that.
I don't know how it goes. So, yeah, smooth transition though, very smooth.
But go Adam, go for it.
So being, a family, being a team, I mean, you got to kind of be a little bit selfish being on the team that did win. Take me through your process this past weekend at Nashville to get 100% on your guys' pit stops, because honestly, that right there won the race for you guys. The strategy was perfect. The call was perfect. The track position was perfect, all thanks to you guys. Tell me, how much pride do you take in that?
Well, it's not a matter of being selfish, and I know you wasn't using that word in a negative way. We still work together, right? The strategy that we used kind of correlated with what Paul Wolf and that crew used last year at Nashville, because, I mean, this is a back-to-back win in Nashville. So we share strategies, we share setups, obviously. But at the end of the day, when the green flag does drop, yes, we're going to work together to some degree, but we are competing against each other, right? And it's fun to compete, right? But going into like our strategy and stuff, I mean, we knew what we wanted to do. Jonathan Hassler had the game plan, and we just stuck to it. There were moments where we were like, should we do this still? But we still stuck to what we had planned on that side. When it comes to the pit crew side of things, right? We had an idea, obviously, of what we're going to do. 2 tires, there was an option for that. Play 4 tires. We knew that we may have to wait on fuel, things of that nature. We just, for us, man, I'll be very frank. Compared to what the engineers and the road crew and the guys in the shop are doing, our game plan in respect is much more simple, right? We understand, what pit road speeds are, the size of the boxes, right? Same size as the Charlotte, right? We go into practice understanding what could happen, the possibilities, the type of car we can have, and we really rely on what we've rehearsed, right? We just run through 2 tire scenarios, 4 tire scenarios, right? Maybe waiting on fuel, 14 gallons, 15 gallons if possible, and just doing that. We're robots, right? So just executing that. We've done this thing so many times, right? Only have to do it one more time, right? Just one more time. It's that simple, okay? Obviously, the pressure is added, but what's pressure, okay? What's pressure, right? If you have confidence in your ability. So, no, it wasn't much of a selfish thing. We still work together as a team. At one point, I believe we all were up in the top 5, right? Because we had correlated strategies. But at the end of the day, right, it's best man wins, right? We're not going to try to wreck each other, right? But at the same time, the best man wins. As a pit crew, just rely on what we've rehearsed day in and day out and just go do it one more time. And that's our mindset, right? I was talking to one of my coaches earlier today, and we all have our schisms and isms and our different ways of focusing and staying calm, right? Whenever I'm getting on the wall, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just ready to get back home and get back in my nice, cozy bed. Let's go ahead and get this over with. And so I can go home, right? And that may sound bad, but that's my way of staying even keel, right? Because I'll get too high up and want to run through the grandstands, right? And that wouldn't be good for what we need. So, that's pretty much how we attack every weekend, right? And we're going into Michigan. We know it's going to be a fuel race for the most part, right? And so we rehearse what we think is going to happen and just pray that it goes as planned. Like Blaney said, it finally all came together. All of the stars aligned. All of the stars. So.
Because I know it was a really big deal because he was like, finally, there was no weird cautions, nothing crazy happened. So it has to feel like a relief, not just to the driver, but even to you guys too, when everything just finally works.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's indicative to everyone on pit road, right? You want everything to go perfectly well in a way. As fans, we want to see wrecks and cautions and blah, blah, blah. But as workers, as employees of this deal, we want everything to go smoothly. Everyone to be happy, don't cause any turmoil, don't tear anything up, So, no, it is definitely a relief. And obviously on the point of, finally we were able to join our other two house cars and our partner car, the 21, being Wood Brothers, in the win column and in the playoffs chase for the cup, right? So definitely a relief. And going back on the point of adjusting, I will say that I'm a part of a more mature group, in a good way, right? These guys have been there, done that, won one championship, almost two. And, so when we celebrated, we were happy, but I was like, man, I'm a little bit more energetic. I'm not as used to this as you guys are, right? But, like I said, man, it was all beautiful that it could all line up and nothing crazy happened. And even if a caution came out, we had the confidence that we're still going to beat everyone. So, yeah.
Well, there you go. And you mentioned like it's a traveling circus. And I'm so curious because I've heard kind of tidbits here and there about the logistics that goes into going to Mexico City. And I'm curious for you, like as a crew member, what has that been like preparing for that travel after the Michigan race weekend? Because I'm sure there is a lot that goes into it that we don't even know about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we had our meetings today about that, just, on the lines of just being careful what you take through because we have to travel commercial pretty much, which is different than what we usually travel. Not to give up too much information, but it's more of a secluded way of traveling because we usually have to get in and out, right? We don't have time to deal with TSA checks and getting tackled in the middle of Charlotte Douglas Airport or wherever we are that weekend. But we just walked through, just travel, what to have in a bag, what not to have in a bag, what we can take. Just precautions, once we get there. NASCAR has done an amazing job security-wise of just making sure the areas that we're going to be in and surrounding or the hotel we're staying in and the surrounding areas are safe. Because, come on, we're going to actually be there for 4 days. We're leaving Friday, coming back Monday. They know that we're going to want to go out a little bit. So they kind of gave us the layout of where they feel is safe. They've checked them out. NASCAR went months and ahead of time, like security went months and ahead of, kind of like if you traveling, like if you're the president, right? Yeah. They'll go months in advance just to scope out the area and report back and tell us what's safe. And you can go further, but we advise you not to. So it's for us at Team Penske, they've made that whole process very smooth. Not a lot of stressing out, not a lot of thinking, because at the end of the day, they need us from the pit crew to the mechanics to the crew chiefs, car chief, everything. They need us to only be thinking about winning a race, right? For the most part, okay? The only thing that we've thought about was, okay, we know how we're going to get there. We know where we're staying, how we're traveling. It's going to be a 1 hour walk to the track because the bus can only get us but so close, right? So a 1 hour walk roughly to the track, what to expect at the track, how to get from the track back to the hotel. So they made it very simple for us, right? But I'm sure on that side, it's been a lot of things they had to, a lot of loopholes and a lot of hoops they had to jump through just to make it simple for us. So at Team Penske, they've made it very, very smooth sailing. So nothing much to think about, right? Full sails on Michigan right now. But after that, I think our hearts won't be at a heart rate of 3,000. So, you know.
So with the international travel coming up, do you think, or for yourself, are you going to put more pressure on yourself, or is it going to try to be as business as usual?
Business as usual. I know that's a boring answer probably, but it's just another racetrack, right? Obviously, we have more time in that city, right? You have more opportunities to get lost in the festivities, as you will. And it's nothing wrong with having fun, right? We go to Chicago, we go out to the West Coast because we only do one-day shows at Penske. We're not allowed to pit other series like I was at when I was part of Trackhouse or Ganassi. So we're only able to do one thing. So we're in and out usually, but West Coast, Chicago, and this city here, Mexico City, we'll have a little longer time. We just have to manage that. Understand that we're there for work. Okay. Have a little fun, go out and have your chips and cheese and whatnot, but understand you can't get crazy drunk. You can't go out partying too. If you party, sure, but don't go out too long. You need to rest, not just on the Saturday leading up to it, but the Friday too, right? Leading up to it, right? So it's business as usual, right? This is what we're getting paid to do. If we want to go in the off season, we can, right? But this is still a business trip, so yeah.
Well, speaking of fun, some things related to NASCAR, some things not. We had a conversation about Lego before this. So is that your new favorite pastime, like off the track? Yeah, look, the radio is so cool.
It is.
Yeah, that's something new that I've done. And, it's funny because Alex Bowman, he does the same. He's building the Titanic model right now.
Yeah.
And that was something, if you saw the documentary on that or the series on that on Netflix, he's doing the Titanic. I might tackle that, but outside of some of my other hobbies, that's been an addition, right? Just something just to take my mind off of the monotonous pitting. And I love my job. Don't get it twisted, man. In the shop and I have to tell myself to go home. But yeah, that is definitely something that I've added to my repertoire of things to do, that can just take my mind off of stuff, pitting wise, NASCAR, or just life in general. Life is great, guys. Okay. But yeah, it's another little fun thing to do for sure.
And I know something you share with Ryan Blaney is a love of Star Wars. We talked about like Star Wars Lego as well. I need to ask your opinion of this. The sequels. How do you feel about the sequels?
The order in which they came in? I mean, because now we're tapping into the film world, and
yes.
It's for film, and so that's my other love. Are you referencing like the order or like?
Yeah, so like the sequel, so like Rise of Skywalker, like all those, like with Daisy Ridley, those. How do you feel about those ones?
Well, I actually haven't seen those ones yet.
Really?
Well, funny thing, huge Star Wars fan. But
Yes.
my father started me with Revenge of the Sith.
Well done.
I'm just saying, I mean, we're roughly around the same age, so we couldn't experience some of the other ones because they came out, I think, early 2000, 99, the 70s, the 80s, things like that. Awesome. But I think they're pretty awesome. What I'm doing now, though, so I've only seen Revenge of the Sith 1 and 2, right, and then the animated series, right, the Clone Wars animated. Because so all right, slow down, Keiston. So currently, I am watching, thanks to Disney Plus.
Thanks, Disney Plus.
Them in the order that makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
And it's including the animated series, right? Because obviously you have the Clone Wars, but after the Clone Wars, you just see the troops marching in. Great, cool, right? But the animated series actually carries on what happens after that, going into Revenge of the Sith, things of that nature. So I have not gotten to New Hope or whatever after that yet, because I'm just taking my time to watch them in order. But I am a huge Anakin Skywalker fan. And funny, I might be talking too much. Hopefully Ryan doesn't get mad at me if he sees this. But a fan actually gave Ryan a picture of, I think, of Anakin or something like that, or whatever, just as a gift. But it was in our hauler one race. But anyway, so like, huge fan of Anakin. I feel like I can relate to his story. a little bit, not going to the dark side, but just the fact of the struggle of life and how like basically as a Jedi, they wanted to get them as a youngling because, you know, their mind isn't manipulated with the world basically. And Anakin came in as an older Padawan, or is Padawan or older youngling.
You got it. You got it.
Here we go. All right. So, and he struggled with his emotions, his feelings, and things like that. And it's just his character was just so relatable when he had the scene. And it kind of makes me almost want to tear up now. I don't know why. I just love acting that makes me feel the feel. Okay, just how they feel. But the scene where he discovered what they had did to his mother.
Yeah.
You know, and he just went off on that. And he went back and he told Padme or whatnot. Hopefully that's me. So told Padme, like, you know, basically I tried to do good, but they hurt my mom, man. And it's like, I killed them all. And it's like, I could feel the freaking emotion. And I cried, guys. I freaking cried. And I almost tear up now. But, you know, like, it's like, gosh, man, like I love this role. I love this character. I love this guy. And and then obviously going to Darth Vader. I'm not worshiping or hyping up evil, okay? But I still stick with him though as Darth Vader, right? Because he's in that character, in that role, he's still dealing with pain. I don't advise force choking someone, but you know. So it's I definitely am enjoying going through those series so far. Funny thing, they had a Comic-Con here a few years ago, and they had huge Power Rangers fan, by the way. Also, they had the cast of the Mighty Morphins minus the Yellow Ranger because unfortunately she passed away in a car crash in California, I believe. But they also had they had Anakin there, the guy who played Anakin, and some of the cast from Revenge of the Sith there as well. But I was just getting off of the plane from a race and I was too tired, so I went to bed. But anyway, I went home to sleep. But that was cool. Should have went to it. Should have sacrificed some sleep. But Star Wars, great series.
Highly recommend watching the Obi-Wan show because it has like Anakin like right after kind of.
Yes. No. So I did. I'm so sorry to cut you off. I did see that as well in the order. Right, I got that far, and yeah, so it's great. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, now I've fully immersed in Star Wars. I saw Revenge of the Sith, the 20th anniversary, literally a few weeks ago in theaters, and I'm like, it was the coolest. Yeah. Anywho, we're nerding out over here, you guys. It's okay. You have to sometimes, though, right? Like we work in motorsports, and that's so darn cool too. Like Star Wars is cool. So you kind of have to geek out every now and then.
Oh, of course. I'm gonna go a little bit off the topic of Star Wars, but I went to see the Minecraft movie, and I went to an engineering based school, right? And I have a lot of engineering friends, and they all love Minecraft for obvious reasons, and so I joined them, and we all built stuff. And I went to the movies to see the movie. Went to movies. Okay, anyway, so I went there and to see Minecraft the movie, and I forgot really the age group that it caters to the most.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh snap. I'm 30. I just turned 30. Jeez, I feel so old. But at that moment, I was like, gosh, I feel like a grandpa in here. You know, because you had high schoolers, you had middle schoolers, and they were so energetic, right? And geeking out about the characters. And I was like, man, this is flipping fun. And I remember taking a picture with the row I was on. One of the guys was like, hey, let's take a picture doing the T-pose or something. I don't know. So anyway, so we did that. It was just like, yeah, this is cool. Like, it's all right to geek out and not be so serious sometimes. I love geeking out. But I'm just saying, like, these kids didn't have a care in life yet. And they were there just, woo, you know, like they were doing the hat dance, you know, woo, you know. So it's like, all right. Anyway, but no, it's on that point. It's so cool, like, to still be a kid. You should always do that. Never be too serious in life, you know. Hey, have fun, man.
You only have one life. You got to have fun with it.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's all my students talked about for about 3 months straight. I want to see the Minecraft movie. Mr. Lucas, are you to go see the Minecraft movie? Nah, probably not, but maybe when it comes on instant streaming, maybe.
Maybe. You gotta see it.
Either way, it's great. I'm kind of mad though because a lot of movies that I see in theater either come out on Disney Plus or Apple TV, and I'm like, I literally just paid money to see this. I could have watched it at home, but it does. Again, film is my other love that's equal to pitting race cars, and so I always say I love going to AMC, things like that, and contributing to the film world. Especially also having shares in AMC too. Like, I mean, hey, why not? But just contributing to the film industry. Like, I still love to stay in touch with the film industry in some way. So, yeah.
Ooh, then on that note, last thing I'll ask you, Days of Thunder 2. I hope it happens. I know there's like rumblings of things, but that's something I'm sure you would love to see too, right?
Most certainly. Honestly, Talladega Nights too. Come on,
yeah. Calvin right again.
But both of those really. And it was the barn scene. That barn is here in Mooresville, Taylor, right?
Yes, I need to go see it.
I do too. I work out of Mooresville. Been here for 7 years. Haven't gone to see it yet. So definitely have to go and see that for sure. But yeah, no, would love to see that happen. That and again, Talladega Nights 2.
100%. We have to make the Talladega Nights 2 thing happen. That needs more steam behind it. Maybe we'll be like the start of that. Maybe.
I would love to do it. I mean, I'd love to produce it. I mean, hey, but did Ricky Bobby have a child in that movie? I don't remember. But anyway, just some inheritance or some like the bloodline of Ricky Bobby, just that storyline, and him following in his dad's footsteps and him wanting to go fast, and it would be great to write the script up for that. But let me not get too far deep into that water. But I'm just saying, I would love to see another Days of Thunder for sure.
Talladega Nights 2, jacked up on Mountain Dew. Love it.
Honestly,
that's right. That was his son. That was his son. OMG. That's right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that would be great to see him as a grown man now and what he's doing in the film and how he's pursuing his dad's quest to, or trying to keep his name relevant or whatever, because the last time we saw that, by the way, the car that flipped, the me car, that's also in the museum too, by the racetrack. It's okay. So, guys, stop me, please. I don't want to go too far long-winded here.
Go for it.
By Charlotte Motor Speedway, if you go.
I know. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. I wish I could say it more for the viewers, but there's literally like a museum right by the racetrack, and there's like a car on the outside as you enter that museum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the car. That's the actual car.
Yep, that's the car.
Get out.
Yeah.
Everyone, we're learning something new today.
And,
we learned a lot new, but
the guy who coached me on pit stops, he was the pit coach advisor for Talladega Nights.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Phil Horton, the Drive for Development program, Rev Racing. They had a lot. Max Siegel, who was the president of DEI at one point, they had a hand in the pit side of, making sure it's authentic, right?
Yes.
So a lot of guys who are coaches now in the pit world were in that film as a pit crewman. And it's like, oh snap. Like Sean Pete, that's the coach. He's the coach over at Trackhouse. He was my coach when I was there. He did the scene in Talladega Nights where they were in the bar. And if you remember the guy pulling the cable from the record player or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my coach too. So anyway, but he still gets residuals from that, but I'm not going to tell too much of his business. But anyway, it's just crazy how things just come together when you're especially in the sport and stuff like that. But would love to see a rendition of both, especially in the modern era, of filmmaking, right?
Yes.
So Talladega is still kind of modern, but definitely Days of Thunder, things like that. So yeah.
Oh, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed, and maybe in the future we'll see you producing Talladega Nights too. Maybe. We'll have to produce it. Maybe be a part of that cast or something. I don't know. Have you, Taylor, interviewing a driver or whatever? I don't know. Above the yellow line live. Just talking about what just happened at the track.
You know, Ricky
Honestly,
Bobby's son, did you see what he just did there? I cannot believe this, Taylor. Back to you, John. Or something. I know your name. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know. Like, okay, all right.
we're making movie magic right here, folks. This is the start.
Juices are rolling right now. So, I'm done. I digress. Let's move on.
Oh, well, Keiston, it was so fun having you on the show. Seriously, thanks for stopping by. And of course, wish you all the best this season. We'll have to have you on before the season ends again, for sure. So
yeah, would love it, man. I love the setup, like I told you before. I love how this whole thing is growing. And so it's definitely a testament to the work that you're putting into it. I mean, I think all three of us can be very pleased with ourselves thus far with where we have come and how far, we've gotten and stuff of that nature. Again, I'm here because of hard work. You guys are where you are because of hard work, right? So any message to anyone, just work hard. It's cliche, but I'm telling you, if you work hard, it works. I'm telling you, people will see it. Okay. So I love it. Thank you for the invite, guys. And you know how to, I'm not hard to find. Okay. Like Deion Sanders would say, I ain't hard to find. So definitely please reach out. Yeah.
Will do. Keiston, thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
All right. Later.
That was Keiston France, front tire changer on the number 12 at Team Penske. And if you wanted to learn more about his story, he and I talked more in depth about that in a show we did a year or two ago. Again, I will link that in the description here after the show ends for tonight. But always love talking with Keiston. It was so cool hearing that he'd be on the 12 and just getting that news. And then when it all came out, just really proud of how far he's come, and his journey is so cool. So that was Keiston France, everyone.
Forgot to ask him if he got to have a tug of the victory cigar.
Oh,
or at
we'll
least
have to get his answer. I'll have him text me, and then I'll get you that answer. Then we'll tweet it out. But no. It's always great to talk to Keiston and wishing him the best at Michigan. I know that's kind of Ford's domain, so it's going to be a big weekend for Team Penske for sure. But here's the thing, Adam.
I have a guest.
There's guests.
There's
Adam,
guest
please introduce the guests.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, hold on. Here we go. There we go.
Yeah. So this is my father, and this is his partner, Steven.
Hello.
Yep. Welcome to the racing world.
We enjoyed
Welcome
the
to the
show.
racing world. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys' support.
Yep. They're watching downstairs. I'm up here in the studio, obviously.
Yeah.
And my camera, I'd have a better angle of everybody, but my camera decided to be taken over by aliens during the interview, so I'm on a backup one. So
this is like
sorry if it's a little fuzzy around the edges.
It's all good. So good to see you both.
You too. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Ta-da.
At some point, we need to have like all of our parents on the show. I think that'd be so fun.
I'm gonna need one of those extended cameras.
That'd be so. We need to make that happen at some point. I think what's so cool about what we do, and even like this isn't all of our full-time thing, right? So, but it's awesome that like our parents supported, and my parents have gotten fully into NASCAR. They watch the races. They'll text me something before I know something's happening at this point. Like it's also cool. So really appreciate our parents doing what they do, supporting us and all that stuff. But my goodness, I guess next thing, Adam, this is pretty serious. So Busch Apple's back, and it's back on a race car, right? Like that's pretty important to talk about to start.
Yes. The Blapple wagon gang rides again.
Yes.
I am looking so forward to pre-ordering this car as soon as it hits the market.
It looks so good. I will say I'm a little partial to the 4, and when I display that diecast, you know where this is going. We all know where this is going. I display my diecast on a Benzik Designs 3D printed stand. It literally, you guys can't see it because of the framing here, but if you guys see in my other videos, that number 4 Kevin Harvick Michigan win from a few years ago, that diecast is on that 4-tiered stand that you can get at Benzik Designs. If you use the promo code ATYL 2025, you get 20% off your order. I cannot tell you how many people I had today. I posted a photo of 2 diecasts that I have in my collection. Cannot tell you how many people commented, where did you get those stands? Well, this is the answer. So make sure you get your diecast stands, Benzik Designs, use the promo code ATYL 2025 to get 20% off. But I did get the answer from Keiston here.
Oh, perfect.
He did say He said, no, he goes, I do not smoke.
Oh,
So no.
good man.
Yes, but he will have it cased.
Nice.
Which is nice.
Nice.
So perfect. Well, let's dive into some NASCAR news to kind of close things out for the evening. First things first, I know we're very partial to the Red Bull cars here whenever they run on track because it's a blast of the past. And Adam, obviously you being an SVG guy, but even to Connor Zilic. Connor Zilic added 2 NASCAR Cup Series races to his schedule. He'll now compete at, this is another piece of news I should probably have said first before I say it, Echo Park Speedway on June 28th, and then at Watkins Glen on August 10th in the number 87 Red Bull Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. Let's just talk about this first, and then we'll go into the whole Echo Park Speedway news and all that crap.
Yeah.
But this is a really interesting mix of races for Connor. Road course racing at Watkins Glen, understand. Atlanta, interesting. What do you think?
I like the move. I think it's just another way to showcase his abilities as a young, I'll say it, a young phenom, generational talent. Definitely going to take the sport into the future. Hopefully, just getting more opportunities on more diverse tracks. Atlanta's a unique 1.5 mile super speedway. And yeah, I think it's just another thing to put in his wheelhouse at Trackhouse. Builds his stock. Watkins Glen, I think, was an obvious choice. I really wish they would have announced the Roval, but I'm pretty certain there's a reason why he won't be able to do the Roval.
Yeah, there's
might be a little preoccupied.
There is some time still to decide or to announce things. Obviously, the Roval's a bit ways away, but he might be a little preoccupied with a few different things.
And the fact that we had Coda, that was the only race scheduled, and then now we have 3 additional races.
Yeah.
We had the 600 and then Echo Park Speedway and Watkins Glen. That just shows you that they want to invest the time, the money to see if is this kid the real deal and is he ready for Cup. I don't think he's ready for Cup. I definitely think he needs another season at Xfinity.
Yeah.
And maybe by 2027, he might be ready. Just that another year, another season builds up your maturity level. He's really in a great situation being at Junior Motorsports with their Hendrick connections. If nothing can be found at Trackhouse, being a full house as of now, I think he'll have an easy landing spot. Definitely in 2027, 2026, probably not, but crazier things have happened.
Yeah, no, crazier things have happened. And you mentioned maybe not next year. We want him to have maybe another year to develop. And obviously he's already knocking it out of the park in Xfinity in just terms of results and consistency. But you also look at silly season and where the empty seats are. And there aren't a lot of empty seats over in the Cup Series right now. And you have that 3-car charter limit, which really does kind of shoehorn these teams into really not allowing their development programs kind of funnel through, because now you have a limit. You could run an open car and that works, but at that point, is it a financial loss? That's for us to just talk about, but maybe not know, because we don't know the financials of these teams unless they tell us. But that said, too, there is talks that Daniel Suarez, he's out of a contract after this year at Trackhouse Racing. Do they re-up it or do they not? Now, my thought process is because Connor Zilic is at Junior Motorsports for a multi-year deal, and because SVG still hasn't really put together the performances he's really needed, he needs another year to develop in a full-time ride. Like, I think everything at Trackhouse is going to stay the same, quite honestly, for this year. I think Daniel Suarez, his spot is going to be secured, and I hate to say it, but I think it's the fact that everything's kind of in the works altogether. Like SVG needs more time, so anywho, that's going to be something to keep looking at as well with Connor Zilic. But I think he's going to be staying in Xfinity for now. But I mean, he's been doing such great things. I'm excited for him.
And I definitely hope he does stay. I do not want to force somebody to get into a ride that they are ill prepared for and then just plummet and they're out of the sport completely because they were a failed experiment. So just trust the process. Trust the process.
It's trusting the process and having these teams be patient with these drivers. Now, there's some drivers at this point where it's like, I don't know. But with these drivers that are just coming in from Xfinity, it's a huge transition car-wise. We know this from drivers like Denny Hamlin and all these others that have raced Xfinity and Cup together in a season doing someone else in Xfinity and stuff like that. Like, we know it's very different. So you got to be patient with these drivers, but I am really excited for the future for Connor Zilic. But the second piece I want to talk about here news-wise, I guess, yeah, news-wise, how do we feel about Echo Park Speedway? What are our thoughts on it?
I'm still going to call it Atlanta.
I'm still going to call it Atlanta. I'm going to be stubborn, you know?
Like, if I think back to when I was a kid, Lowe's Motor Speedway, it was Lowe's Motor Speedway Charlotte. That's how everybody referred to it. That's how the media referred to it. It was never just Lowe's Motor Speedway. It was Lowe's Motor Speedway Charlotte, or Lowe's Motor Speedway, the Beast of the Southeast. I wish they'd bring that back. But I mean, hey, if it's going to generate some more revenue to keep the Speedway functioning at a high level, then yeah, I'm all for it.
Well, Adam, I'm glad you mentioned that, because if you trace back, and this is, I don't want to get controversial here, but if you're tracing back Echo Park and who owns all these things, it's all owned by the Smith family. So if you look at a big picture, it's just kind of moving money around in a way to get one of their companies advertised on a larger scale. Overhead, big view.
I think someone said it was moving money from the left pocket to the right pocket.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And now, it could be much more complicated than that. As we know, there's obviously everything's owned by the Smith family, but you have different like presidents and stuff like that of these companies. Like, I understand it's not just that simple, but if you're looking at it from high up, you know, but like, it's also, they own the track. Like, they can do what they want. It's fine. Doesn't impact us fans. I do think, though, when you have an entitlement partner on a track, it can hurt the identity of the track. Now, we have entitlement partners on different stadiums and football stadiums and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like concert venues, stadiums, stuff like that. But we're used to that. We're not used to this being the case in NASCAR. At least it hasn't been for a very long time. So do I love it? No. Do I ultimately, at the end of the day, like, care as long as the track stays like cool product wise? Like, it's fine. I just don't think I'm going to get any Atlanta Motor Speedway, or I guess now Echo Park, like, gear. I don't want to wear like an Echo Park branded shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The logo is cool, but yeah, the track lure, it's rooted as Atlanta Motor Speedway. It'll always be referred to as Atlanta. It has a nice little extra name enhancer now to it. Kind of like when Sonoma was Sears Point, then was Infineon, then it was just simply Sonoma. So maybe that, hopefully it's not a sign of the times where we're just, all right, all these tracks are going to have entitlement sponsors. All right, this is Busch Light Speedway. Where is it? Kansas.
And that's the thing. You got to think about where it is, and you're kind of banking on those hardcore NASCAR fans to just know it and follow the news. And like, I'm thinking of like the older generation watching the sport who also can't figure out how to watch Prime. That's a whole other conversation, but I understand it too. You're trying to bank on them knowing like where Echo Park Speedway is. So, and then this whole week too, there was a whole TikTok that blew up of this guy being like, NASCAR is losing like its older audience because we can't find Prime. There's a 30-day free trial on Prime, and if you have Amazon Prime, you get Prime Video with it. So there's plenty of ways to kind of kill two birds with one stone or watch it for free. Anywho, I'm going to get off my high horse there. I digress. But yeah, Echo Park Speedway is now a thing, and we will probably continue.
On Prime.
Oh, yes.
How about the coverage?
It's been so good. So this has been good. It's been so good. Because this has been the first week, really, we've been able to watch, or at least I've been able to watch it like from start to finish, like at home, because otherwise I was at Charlotte. But it's been phenomenal. The pre-race and post-race show, and Joseph Strictly of Racing America and TobyKersey.com, he had actually clipped a video from the broadcast of Bubba Wallace talking about being a dad. And you don't get those emotional moments without having a full in-depth pre-race and post-race show, which I know you can't do with broadcast TV because there are very specific TV times. I understand that. If the general audience doesn't, at least I do, that doesn't really make a difference. But you know what I mean? Like, with streaming, you can do so much more and give fans the coverage that they want. We just have to work around and being okay with, we got to pay for that coverage. But Adam, if the coverage is so damn good, I'm just going to say that, and we're getting everything we want, and original like docuseries, like Earnhardt was phenomenal. Like, if we got to pay for that, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with canceling another subscription here or there to watch it. Now, Of course, if we want Prime covering all of NASCAR, we're going to have to wait, 7 years for a new TV deal, 5 years, somewhere in there. So there's still a ways, but I think this is the start of NASCAR moving towards streaming exclusively, depending on what streaming looks like that far a
And
ways
it's
away.
definitely a
So,
trend across the entire sports world. There's now
yes.
additional NFL games that are being streamed exclusively on either YouTube, YouTube TV, Netflix. Yeah, so it's just the sign of the times. We're evolving. We're evolving from being we evolved from being on just national television to being on cable television. Now it's the next step. We're going on to the streaming services, and I think this is a great taste. We'll have essentially 10 races that will be streamed somehow with Prime and then with the TNT Max coverage. So yeah, it's the future. It's coming in 7 years. I definitely think we'll have some sort of different reimagining of the network's broadcast presentation. You might have two options. You might have the over the air on the network, and then you might have a special coverage that's exclusive to either their streaming service, platform, or app. So I think that's inevitable.
We're moving towards that way. Like you said, it is inevitable. It's just a matter of, you got to gather the data. You got to make sure it all works. And then you also have to make sure streaming's still relevant in 5 to 7 years from now. Like, we know it's likely going to be, but
it could change on a dime. Who knows? You might be getting those VR headsets implanted in your heads. Who knows? I mean, now look, I'll pay for a subscription to NASCAR if I'm going to get this quality of production.
yes.
Absolutely. You can take my credit card right now. It's worth it.
I mean, and everyone in the comments, is just singing the praises of Prime. John said again, Prime's awesome, best NASCAR broadcast we've had in a long time. Ravaging Wolverine said Carl Edwards has been quite good, which I expected, but was also not a given. No, 100%. Carl Edwards has jumped right in and has done an incredible
Corey
job.
LaJoy is doing fantastic too. Yeah.
And Corey LaJoy doing well did not surprise me. He has his podcast, so he already has a media platform, but he and Carl actually work really well together, and that's what I wasn't sure about.
It's almost like it's kind of like Parker and Jamie's chemistry, a little bit.
Which shocks me. It truly does shock me because you wouldn't think with just different eras in NASCAR. I know Corey's been around a long time because of his dad in the industry and stuff like that, but you wouldn't expect them to go off of each other as well as they have. And it just works. And then Danielle Trotta, phenomenal, sweetest human being ever. She's crushing it in her role. And what I do love about Prime's coverage too is they really are roping in the fans. They'll have fan comments on screen. But this is the thing. Again, you can do this because it's streaming. And I don't, obviously you can compare Fox to Prime's coverage because it's very different. And admittedly, Prime's is a billion times better. And we've talked about this, but also it's because they have different capabilities. Sure, there are some things that could be cleaned up that they have the ability to do, but it's going to be different because cable versus streaming. But yeah, talking about the moment with Bubba Wallace being incredible. But yeah, nothing.
What I really like about the post-race show is they do a cheers to something. That's awesome.
It's good. Yeah, and then even to just the booth as well. I know we were talking about pre-race and post-race coverage, but the booth itself as well with Dale Jr., Steve Letarte, and Adam Alexander. Adam Alexander is such a veteran of the sport, and getting this opportunity to call the cup races in this way, and it works. Again, it's the same vibe that you have with Parker and them in the CW booth. It feels the same. It's just a step up. Like, it feels like just dudes hanging out watching the race, but professional. There's no gimmicks, no weird crap.
And the thing that I really enjoy about the CW booth and the Prime booth is they're invested. They are they're getting excited. They're getting animated, not in a corny way, but they're getting technical about it and trying to explain to the viewer at home that, there's they're engaged.
Yeah.
When we look at the other network, it's kind of like, oh, well, the car, blah, blah. Oh, there's a caution.
They're checked out.
Yeah, I need the broadcaster to be engaged with the actual product that they're witnessing.
And I want the broadcast to stand out before the commentators, because you want to focus on the action. The commentators should be the nice, cool, sound you hear in the background that's telling you the story. And maybe sometimes you forget about it too. And I talked about this, I think, in the last stream as well, but one thing I learned in my journalism school when I did a broadcast class, I did many broadcast classes, but the one that stuck out to me in particular was like a sports type of journalism broadcasting, whatever. And one thing that my professor said stuck with me. He was like, if you can't hear the commentators or you're not focused on the commentators, they're some of the best commentators ever in the sport. Like they're so good because you want them to draw you to the action, not to the shenanigans that they're
Right.
talking about, right? So all that said, can't say enough good things about Prime. And I'm excited to see, them continue their coverage. And then obviously we go to TNT starting at Atlanta, and that's going to be a whole new booth. And there's so much change. I am excited though, like when NBC comes back and I'm like, okay, like we can get some normalcy, like under our fingers a little bit. But man, Prime has been good. I hope to God TNT is as good. I know it's a different cast of characters, more so from the Fox side of things.
And there's also going to be an alternate
why I'm
cast with Jeff Burton and Larry
This is
McMurray.
true.
Is it Larry Mack?
Yeah, Larry.
That's going to be fun
Larry
to
Mack,
hear those two personalities on the alt cast.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'll definitely be wanting to tune into that one as well as the main broadcast too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. There's so much to look forward to. And that said, heading into Michigan, if you guys watch all the content on Racing America, which I hope you do, Pre-Race Pulse is going to air tomorrow, previewing Michigan and everything that's happened in the past week of NASCAR. It drops at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure to check that out for my race picks and all that stuff. But in the meantime, while you're waiting for Michigan to happen, check out all of our content that we have on the ATYL Media channel. We have a lot of good shows, a lot of good content. Antron Brown joined Big Duke on his new show, Nitro Nation, as we talk all things NHRA. It was a fun conversation. If you guys don't know Antron, he is one of the most animated drivers I think you will ever meet. He has an infectious smile and personality, and he just has his personality is just larger than life. But he also has these really cool stories that kind of unfold, talking about racing with his son and things like that. Like, it is such a cool conversation. You should check that out. Obviously, every Tuesday morning, we have a new Splash and Dash where you get to hang out with Sal and talk all things NASCAR. A new F1 show, obviously, Track Limits with John DeRudris. He had a new episode coming out talking all things Formula One. And then, of course, Buddy's show on tour with Langley. Lots happened at Langley for the car store. My goodness, we had some penalties from that. And it was just...
Had some action in the pits too.
Oh my God. Yeah. Buddy got that fight on video in case you haven't seen it, but also not surprised that one driver was in a fight, but I digress. Anywho, lots of new content. Make sure you check it out. But we appreciate you tuning in tonight and appreciate our partners for helping us along the way. Of course, Benzik Designs, On Brand, The Bright Mentality, Goat Locker, and of course, Happy Hour Racing. And for Goat Locker, their show, Goat Talk, comes back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time right here on the ATYL Media channel. So make sure to check it out as they talk about their summer series and so much more. But everyone, thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate you joining us on your Wednesday night and enjoy the racing this weekend. Again, trucks are on Saturday. Truck racing Saturday afternoon. And then, of course, cup racing on Sunday. But for myself and Adam Lucas, we will